And welcome to the Fitness Oracle, where we have real conversations with real people just like you, with real stories just like yours. And this is one of their stories. I am your host, John Katsavos. My guest today is Tatiana Pauli from Alternative Healing and Health. She was originally born in Russia, grew up in New York City for 20 years, lived in Baltimore for 10. She's been a registered nurse for 15 years. She has two boys, 12 and 13, and she has her own health challenges that suffered with her stomach and back and always getting cold. Tatiana, welcome to the show.
Hey, John. Very nicely said. Thanks so much. Thanks for having me here. This is very exciting.
Absolutely. It's great to have you on here. So, how was your trip to Boston?
Fun. I so needed it. Just like to get away from everything. Although I live in Miami and the beach is across the street, and I'm always on vacation land from where I live. You can even see the beach from my windows. But it's just sometimes nice to just get away from your environment and be able to take a look at something different. Completely just changes your eyes and your vision and your thoughts, and just it has its own healing process.
Yeah, I know it's so hard to get away these days. I know I've been my vacation actually got postponed, which was back in end of May. So I know a lot of people are.
I just had to go. This literally was an overnight kind of thing. A friend of mine, I literally just texted him. I'm like, all right, I'm coming over.
That's awesome.
That was pretty much it. I literally got on a flight the next day. The flights are like $50 round trip. I mean, come on.
Oh, that's
How bad
great.
deal?
That's amazing. You can't go wrong with $50.
Can't go wrong. Might as well. Grab my computers with me because I work from home, and off I go.
That's amazing. So let's jump into this. So, what exactly do you do at Alternative Healing and Health?
That's an excellent question. So I've been a nurse for 15 years, and I have also suffered with my own health challenges, as you stated. And so I'm always on this learning path of wanting to know what's out there, what can make me feel better the natural way, because seeing what my own patients have gone through and being a patient myself, I love doctors. They're really amazing. I'm not here to trash them on any level, but I do feel that there are better ways than medications. And unfortunately, the doctors are just not don't have the time to be able to sit down with us and teach us the old ways, which is eating better, healthier, organic, juicing, and so forth. So I've always been on this kind of quest of learning what's out there, whether it be about crystals or organics or juicing or gluten-free or whatever it is. And I've always tried and experimented. And one day I found something that actually worked on everything for me.
Hmm,
And that's kind of what I do now.
interesting. What is that?
Well, it's a cell signaling technology. It's very, very new. It's about 32 years old. It has had 6 Nobel Awards for its discovery. And these incredible molecules, really one of its kind that has been stabilized, are pretty much being studied all over the world in any medical university, all over the country and all over the world. Huffington Post actually said that it is the top 5 emerging sciences of our time. So it's still new, but it's tremendous. It's and a lot of fun, especially yeah, it's a lot of fun. I've tried it on different clients. Been doing it about 3 years now, and every time it still surprises me. And it's something very different. It is not something that you've ever heard of before.
So, what you like, kind of like strap it on and like sit back and relax, kind of thing?
Oh, we're gonna have that kind of conversation, the strap on. I wasn't ready for that conversation.
No,
I
I'm
have my
thinking.
own book of strap-ons. There's some different types.
No, I was talking about that thing that you strap around your waist and it like supposed to like jiggle you.
This is supposed to be G-rated. Okay, no.
It's a podcast.
G-rated. So no strap-ons, darling. Not this podcast. Maybe a different one. We can definitely talk about that. But it's definitely not a device. It's not something you put on. Although I do have a different kind of device. It's actually a stimulant, like an electrical stimulating device. I can't really talk too much about it because I have not had any personal experience with it, but I use that as well. I use a lot of different things. But the cell signaling molecules that I promote, that I encourage, that I have fun with, is something a little bit different. It is the only thing out there that's actually native to our bodies. Our bodies actually make it. Literally every cell in our body makes it. So sorry, John, to disappoint you. It's not a strap on or anything that you strap on. It's something our body actually makes.
I'm not disappointed. Don't worry. I was getting a little scared, actually.
All right, we're good. We're good.
We're good.
Yeah.
We're good. Okay, this conversation just went left. Really left.
Yeah, I always incorporate a lot of different things, even though I find one thing that I absolutely love and would rave about. It's not the all end all. So I incorporate oils. I incorporate holistic foods. I go into juicing. My mom and I just recently started doing something called celery juicing. If you guys ever heard of the Medical Medium, go ahead, Google him. Actually, he's on Instagram, has about 2 million followers, and I think 3 million followers on Facebook. He's called Medical Medium. And he really teaches kind of the layman's term of how to be able to cleanse your body and be able to heal yourself. So he is started the celery juice movement. So I'm constantly learning and experimenting, even though I have something that works really, really amazing. To be able to focus on prevention now, to do everything I can now to be able to stay well and strong instead of waiting to get sick and then running to doctors to get a pill, is really my biggest focus and my encouragement. And so I surround myself with people that have those similar like mind thoughts, desires. But not everybody. Some people wait till they get sick and then they're looking and searching for something that will help them. So that's kind of where I come in, and I'll be able to share with them what this does.
We're actually going to get into your illness prevention stuff in later on, but first I wanted to ask you this whole thing that you do. You've spoken on Facebook a couple of times about how you use visualization as a tool.
Yeah.
Is this more like projection?
So it's interesting. I'm glad you brought those two together. So if you look me up on Facebook and you look at what it is that I do, so I promote one thing, one company, one technology, one science that really focuses on cellular healing, literally in every aspect of your body. Anything that's got a cell, it's going to be able to help with. But on Facebook, what I do is I'm pretty much trying to find myself. And so I've tried to do a lot of different things. And in Facebook, and this is something I actually encourage people to do, what you do for a living does not necessarily represent who you are. And so you want to be able to just be real and raw and genuine and vulnerable and just kind of show people what you are, who you are, what your vision is, what is your mission, what is the direction you're going through, what is your experiences, what is your struggles, what did you have a hard time with, how did you experience it, how did you overcome it. And that's really what I come on to do, is I teach what is it that I'm doing to better myself, to grow myself so that I can improve in my life and my profession and my business. And so I really don't focus so much on the health aspect. I really focus on where my passion is, which is self-development, self-love, self-growth, and motivation. So that is what I do on Facebook. And then I connect with people, I make friends. And if somebody's curious and interested to know what is it that I actually do as a business, then I will share with them what is it that I do. Or if somebody has a health challenge that they share with me, then I'll ask them if they're open to taking a look. But yeah, I don't, it's interesting. Don't necessarily mix the two.
I know it's so hard. It's so hard to stay, to live two different lives, especially Facebook and then outside your normal life. It's a hard one to do. You actually did a very interesting question in one of your more recent videos, your video logs on your Facebook account. You asked, you're on a dock in Rhode Island, I think it was, and you were saying, "What can I do to change the person that's irritating me?"
Yes, yes. So that is part of, I guess, my self growth and self-love and just that positive aspect, because there are 7 different levels. Think and Grow Rich is a really powerful book. I encourage everybody to really go through it. I think every school in the world should be able to teach that book. But there are certain levels that will stop us from growing. And anger, jealousy, judgment, uh, uh, I actually learned superstition is one of them. That one actually got me. Um, that will actually stop you from growing in your life. And my whole goal is to be able to better myself, to grow, because that is how I'll be able to grow my business even further. If you don't grow yourself, your business doesn't grow. Um, and it was just kind of like a topic that my friends and I were sitting and talking, and we started talking about other people and how these other people, each one has a story, each one's talking about the other person, and you don't necessarily, each one wants to talk about that person, what they don't like about them, what they wish they do different. And then at the end of the conversation, you really want to look at the whole conversation and kind of ask yourself, which is, I guess, kind of the goal of my talk, was just to be able to say, we all want to be able to talk about somebody else, but the question is, what can we do different to be able to change the situation, so we're not talking negatively about them, but also create a situation where it's not a negative environment for us. So instead of pointing the finger at them and wanting them to change, or they should do this differently, or they should do that differently, you want to be able to turn the fingers around and point it at yourself and say, well, what can I do to be able to remove myself from the situation so it's not so stressful?
So more on the lines like, you're not trying to change the person, you're just trying to change yourself in that situation. Because maybe the guys have, or the girls having a bad day. Maybe, I don't know, their cat died, or their dog died, or their kids got an F on their report card.
Right.
So you're trying to say, like, how can I change? What's wrong with me rather than what's wrong with them, right?
It's easy to point the finger at somebody else, and something that we do pretty, many of us do. Okay. There's nobody out there that doesn't do it. We do it with our work, we do it with our friends, we do it with our family, and we do it behind their backs when they're not around to look. Right? There's always somebody that's kind of how many conversations start off. Mary did this, so yeah, I connected with John, and John said that, and so forth. And then you start pointing fingers and blame as a way to try to connect with the person that you're with. And then at the end of the conversation, what did you learn from it? What did you grow? What did you do different besides point the finger at somebody else? So I guess the point of that quick live was just to be able to encourage people that if you're stressed about something, let's say a job that you don't like, and your manager's having a hard time, they're stressing you out. And so you can come home and complain about them, or you can ask yourself the question, which is, what can I do differently to make this situation more positive?
That's a very powerful message. I love that message. That's great. Because a lot of times that us as humans, we have a tendency of not taking extreme ownership of our own actions, and because it's just easier to blame somebody else. Oh, okay, James had a really, uh, James didn't do this. And, well, maybe it's not James' fault. Maybe James did the best that he could, and maybe we need to, show James how to do something else,
Yeah.
how to do it better, or give him a different aspect, a different viewpoint, right?
Yeah. I can actually use an example in my past, nothing too present, I guess. But okay, so one of my, God, a few stories, and now I look back in my life and my life experience, and I like literally tell myself, I'm like, shoot, I wish I knew different. The saying, if I knew then what I know now, right? And so I say that. So here's one experience, actually, two of my jobs, two of my professions. My longest jobs that I've ever had was 3.5 years at one employer, and the other one is another employer. So I've been a registered nurse for 15 years. I was in a hospital setting for my first 5 years, and then the past 10 years I've been in home care. So one of my home care positions for 3.5 years, absolutely loved the job, loved the people I was working with, loved the managers and so forth. But then there ended up having some shifts really, really fast, and management changed literally overnight. And in a matter of, I think, about a month to 2 month time, there was a huge transformation and a lot of nurses started quitting. And the manager that created so much stress for all of us, of course, started picking on me at a certain point. And instead of me, I would have to say, being mature about it, or looking at the situation differently, or being able to go to a higher authority and have an adult conversation, I literally tried to stand my grounds and be a big girl and was pointing the finger. Okay, fine. So she wasn't nice. Okay, fine. So she was abusive of my time and forcing me to be more productive than I had to be. But there were many, many, many options for me to be able to take to create the situation to be more positive, such as going to a higher management. I had a great connection with the vice president. I should have just gone to him directly. I was actually taking care of his mom. Like, there's so many possibilities that I had, that I could have just had a sit down talk, or written up a professional yet positive letter on some level to be able to change the environment. And I didn't. I created this, let's butt heads. No, that's not what happened. This is what you did. And no, this is what you did. And it just turned into a mess, and I resigned. Um, and now when I look back at one of those situations, I'm like, shit, there's so many ways that I could have done this without pointing the finger, and just asking myself, Tanya, what can you do different that can keep the situation positive? And I didn't do that. And then that's where the saying comes in, if I knew then what I know now. And that's why I'm so focused so hard on growing myself and bettering myself, because it just improves the quality of my life and improves the vibration of what just my environment, the way that I live. It improves the kind of people I surround myself with. Like, everything starts to go up when you start thinking in a positive light and asking yourself what I can do better, different, versus pointing the finger and blame.
Interesting that you would say, you know, trying to change the situation in a positive light, especially in the current situation that we're in with the COVID, and everybody was just got out of lockdown, and now we're thinking about going back into lockdown. You and I both know that, people being locked down for any certain period of time, there's really bad stuff up in their head.
Yeah.
What kind of tips do you have for people that are already in that bad headspace?
It's interesting you say that. I actually had a post that I posted a few days ago where I had so many incredible responses. I think I had more than 100 different comments of people that were giving their thoughts and suggestions. And the post was pretty much me asking, what would you do to keep yourself mentally healthy? Right? It's a really good, simple sentence. If all of you have Facebook, go ahead and ask your audience this simple question, which is, what do you do, or what can you suggest to keep yourself mentally healthy? And so many people had a lot of different talks. And the one thing that I found interesting is, one, for some reason, sleep came in the picture. I guess a lot of people are not getting much sleep, staying home a lot. It's weird. I don't know why. But then the other one is, turn off the TV, right? Like, literally turn off the TV. It is crazy, the fear mongering that is happening 24/7. But news is focused on what's happening on the now, and they're going to take that and they're going to exacerbate it and make this traumatizing, scary situation. And there are people that really would feed into it and be afraid of it. And it is scary. I'm not going to, throw it off and say, hey, this is not a scary situation, but you want to be able to protect yourself. There's no difference between COVID and having a car accident the next day where you can die. Like, you have to be able to be prepared for it, but still cannot live in a sense of fear, because that fear will actually drop your immune system, will actually make you more exhausted, and will actually increase your chances of getting sick. So the fear mongering that's happening with the news is, I think, sad and exhausting. unhealthy, detrimental, just dangerous on so many different levels that it just has to stop. And instead of pointing the finger at the news and saying, oh my God, they're awful, what can you do to fix it? Turn the TV off. Stop listening to the stuff.
That's a great tip because when this whole COVID stuff happened, I was like everybody else. Like I was like glued to the TV, glued to the stats, and I'm like, I just sat back and I'm like, what am I doing to myself? Honestly, it was just a waste of my energy, and I could just focus my energy somewhere else. And two positive, very positive things happened with Feel Fitness and now the Fitness Oracle. So,
There you go.
you
There you
know,
go. Congratulations. Isn't that interesting? We were just like you. Like the first 2 months, petrified. I was scared for my mom. My mom had COVID. She's gone through it. It's like her having a common cold. It's like, okay, we have to go through this. We cannot fear the inevitable. Everybody's going to get this, no matter what. That's my personal opinion. Even if you're going to get the vaccine is a smaller, lower, weaker version of the virus. So you're going to get this one way or the other, whether you get it through the vaccine or whether you get it from just the way my mom got it. So the best thing you can do is prepare yourself. And that's why I'm very big in holistic and alternative remedies, which is I want to make sure that my body, and it's probably why my mom got through it so well, my aunt got through it so well, because we're all very big into holistic remedies and doing a lot of different things, not just one. And it just, you want to prepare yourself always for what is to come instead of just, yeah, I mean, it's tough to look at it in many ways. We were scared the first 2 months. We were petrified. I mean, you should have seen me cleaning all the beets. I have it on video. Okay, like literally, we got an entire sink full of beets. We ordered like $1,000 worth of product to be delivered from a few different stores, and scrubbed everything with soap and water. First 2 months, petrified. God forbid you touch. God forbid you go outside. But after 2 months, I couldn't take it anymore. I said, Mom, this is not healthy. This isn't normal. This is just going to make us even sicker. We need to stop. We need to start living our life normally. Be cautious, be careful, be prepared. Have optimal health. Take your vitamins, take your supplements, have your alkaline water, have your signaling devices, have your signaling molecules. Take your oils if you have essential oils, use your crystals, visualize, pray, meditate. All the things that are out there to be able to increase your immune system. Turn off your television because definitely that'll help increase your immune system. But at the end of the day, we have to just prepare ourselves. We cannot avoid life. We can't.
that is so true. You just hit the nail on the head with that one. We cannot avoid life. Um, Shifting gears here, how did the alternative healing and health come about?
It really was a great gift and a blessing. You know how they say uh, gifts and blessings come when you least expect it? So that's kind of what ended up happening with me. So been a nurse for 15 years, and for these 15 years, I have had my own health challenges with my stomach. I'm not going to go into great details, but for those of you that know what it's like to eat anything and just constantly be in pain and just yeah, can't have dairy products, couldn't have gluten products. Anything that I would eat out would hurt. Anything I would eat. It was just, I was always in a lot of pain. You couldn't really tell. I would have these exacerbations that would last 4 or 5 months. I am a stubborn nurse. I do not like doctors because I know what they're going to do, and they're going to give me medication. Those medications are going to make me good in one area and make me sick in 20 other areas. So I did gluten-free diet. I did dairy-free diet, although yes, I did cheat. Absolutely. I'm not that great. I don't know how some people do it, but I did my best to just stay healthy and stay organic and use a lot of different supplements and avoided a lot of different things. And then I had issues with my back, lots of different issues that I've suffered with. I won't go into it, but I started getting burned out at work. I think I actually burned out almost every year because I pushed myself. I love working, and I have a passion for helping people heal, but I think I always overdid it, kind of my extremes of my character, and I would burn out. And at a certain point on my 15th year, I just burned to the point where I said, there has to be something more. There has to be something better. I, I don't want to do this anymore. And one day I decided to go to a law of attraction workshop. My first workshop ever. I did not know what law of attraction was. I went on Meetup and I found a meetup group a mile away. It was about starting in about an hour. I didn't have my kids. I'm divorced. My kids and I we had alternating access. I didn't have my kids. I didn't have work. I didn't want to just stay home. I said, okay, I'm going to go do something really, really different. So this was like my, wow, I'm going to go do something different. Now, some people go for a hike or do something like that. I went to a law of attraction workshop, and there I met a man and his girlfriend. And there we created a great connection. And before I left the class, they shared something interesting with me. They asked me if I knew what this was. And I said no. And they said, yeah, they'll take a look at it. And there my journey began.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I've had those moments too where it's like, you know what? No, I'm going to do something different. And it's always led me to very strange, interesting, and fun places.
Yeah, this is like the greatest. This is the greatest story of my profession, of what it is that I'm doing. This is like my wild story. Like, at all the places that God would give me a gift, not just to heal my body, but to also give me a way out where I can have my own business and not have to work for somebody else. I go to a law of attraction workshop, a positive thinking workshop. I mean, seriously. And here I am today. If I did not go to that workshop, I do not know where I would be today.
Interesting. Have you ever felt like quitting when you first, from where you started, from the workshop till right now? Have you ever felt like quitting?
Oh my God, I quit all the time. I even just a few weeks ago, I quit again. Are you kidding me? Come back to me in a few months. I'll probably quit again. No, absolutely. So, all right. So when you start your own business and you want to be an entrepreneur, and I literally left my profession almost cold turkey. I left nursing full time 3 years ago. Literally just said, I am done. And have had also a few other situations that have happened to me in my personal life. Long story short, I was going through, been divorced, but back and forth litigation with my ex-husband over our children. I have two boys, ages 12 and 13. And what happened is, at a certain point, I said to myself, and this is literally part of the law of attraction teaching, which was only like 3 months prior. As I started learning and growing, I started asking myself that question, which is really goes back to that live that you're talking about, which is, instead of pointing the finger at somebody else, what can I do different to better the situation? And that's exactly what happened 3 months after I started learning and developing myself, which is, I asked myself the question, which is, what can I do different to make things better? And so I literally changed everything. I quit an incredible, incredible job that I had with Johns Hopkins and that I absolutely loved. I moved from the state. I stopped the fight with my ex-husband and finally created peace. I let go of my children, which is to let go of the fight, because it was the best for them to have one home. It was time to have peace for all of us. And I came to Florida from Baltimore. No job, no money, no children, no friends, but I did have my family here, and I started anew.
That's awesome.
And did I quit? Absolutely. I think I quit 3 months after I started, which is the question that you asked me. And the reason I did that is because I believed in the possibilities. I believed in the product. I believed in the profession. I believed in my capabilities, but I was alone because the people that were surrounding me did not believe. They believed in me, but they didn't believe in the product or the profession or the possibilities. So you had every excuse in the book. Oh, it's too hard. It's only for people experienced. Only people that you know somebody. Okay, right? And they do it with such love because it's your family and friends. And they know they want to protect you, but what they don't realize is they're actually hardships from going through your failures that you need go through to be able to grow. And so, yeah, 3 months into it, I quit. And then what did I do? I started something else. But then what happened is I kept coming back to it. That's what happened. I had the ability. I didn't go back to nursing. I had the opportunity to grow another business that somebody else believed that I could do, that I knew I could, and I grew that business. But something kept pulling me back to where my passion was, which is to be able to help people heal. And so I kept coming back. And then I kept getting pulled away in a few months. And then I kept coming back. And then it got pulled away because I had another client with that other profession, that other job that I was doing, that other opportunity. And then I got more money. And I'm like, oh, I can go after that. If I can build that more. And then I started building the other business. And I left the one that I had the passion for. And here's what happened. And this is why I always encourage people. Money will not help you grow. And it won't make you happy. It's the love and the passion that you have, where whatever it is that you're doing in a way where you are a service to people, you got to follow your heart. I started making money and I started being miserable. And I said, this is not working. And I came back finally to these molecules, to this company, back to this profession. And I said, you know what? I don't know how long it'll take me, but I'm going to become a pro. I'm going to make this my profession. I'm going to go pro. I'm not going to stop till I get there. And that's where I am now.
That's awesome. It's interesting that you said that something kept pulling you back to that profession. I have experienced something like that myself with personal training. This is the third time that I'm getting back into the personal training gig. The third time.
I'll hire you. Virtually, you'll train me.
The first time when I had VO Fitness, I had no idea how to run a business, how to create a business, how to get a client. I had no clue. It failed before it came out of the womb.
Yeah.
The second time, I had a better understanding, and I was making 5 figures a month for a good 6 months. Life was great for me. Lost it in a month. And now this is the third time, and third time's a charm.
I'm going to tell you, you'll probably fail the third time and the fourth time and the fifth time. And you'll always fail if you stop. It's when you keep coming back that you're successful. It's like my incredible story with the law of attraction. It's when you least expect it. And your success and your high, how you say, tipping point, or however it is that you want to, you getting to the summit will happen when you least expect it, as long as you keep showing up. Keep showing up imperfect. Keep showing up relatable. Keep making that effort, and it will happen right when you least expect it, especially when you're ready to quit forever. Right when you're ready to quit forever is when you shouldn't quit, is when you should push a little further, because it's right over that small little hill that you don't see that all of a sudden everything changes. And I've seen that happen. Personal experiences. And so that's why I know that I'm in it for the long run. I don't know how long, I don't know how far, I don't know how many years, I don't know how hard. I know I'm going to get there. I just have to stay in the game.
That's so true. Speaking about law of attraction, in a little bit of a different sense, the dating world itself has changed because of COVID.
Yeah, I can talk about this for hours. I'm in the dating world right now. I gotta tell you, I don't know how people are doing it. It's crazy.
Well, I actually took a break from it for a while, because I'm like, okay, I can't deal with this anymore, especially now with COVID. I mean, I can't go for dinner, I can't go for a drink, I can't do anything. How do you deal with it?
I'm gonna tell you how. You want to know how? You ready for this?
Yeah.
I quit after 2 weeks.
You quit after 2 weeks.
I literally quit after 2 weeks, but just like I did with my business, I came back, tried again, and then I completely disappeared and quit. I said, that's it. I can't do it. And then you know what happened? For a week, I'm like, okay, let me try this again. That's pretty much my experience. It's,
I think it's a hard time for everybody who's single, especially now. Like, I mean, you can't really do anything except for like a Zoom call, and that doesn't really do anything.
I've met some really nice men, like really good men. They're afraid to meet me because they don't want to get sick because of COVID. I'm thinking to myself, this is horrible.
Just tell them to wear a mask.
I'm telling you, I'm like they're like I don't know what it is. But the creepy ones, they're ready to go on a date. They're ready. They're like, what time? Rick, I'll be there. Just say what. Sorry.
No,
I can
it's fine.
talk about this for hours. I have so many weirdo stories.
The reason why I'm asking is that because a big part of us being who and what we are is social people, social animals. Like we need that social interaction.
Mhm.
And it's been kind of just pulled away from us with this whole thing. Do you have any tips on people to,
You want me to give? Can you give me some tips? I think you might be in the game a little longer than me.
I've been in the game for a long time. Like,
Really?
yeah,
I think
I broke up with my,
tell,
sorry,
tell me.
I broke up with my fiance
Oh, that's tough.
8 years ago,
Wow. How long were you with her?
a year.
Wow. 1 year already engaged?
Yeah, I thought she was the one. She ended up. I found out that she was born there for the money. This is when when Vio Fitness was doing very well. I had my own studio, was doing good, and then all of a sudden the ground fell out, and then she changed. So
Yeah.
it's not like the first time I've that's happened, but
Have you ever been married before?
no, that was the closest.
Oh boy, you got lucky. Dude, are you kidding? Imagine what would happen if you married her and then lost the money. If you married her, had kids, and then lost the money, dude, you have no idea how lucky you are. You're like you dodged that bullet. Am I right or am I right? Come on
Yeah,
now.
you're right. You're right. You're right.
I got some experience here. I know.
Oh man, interesting conversation that we're having right now. I'm loving it. This is great.
It's so true. You know, people don't realize it. I mean, look at my experience. I hope I hope I don't get sued for this one, but it's okay. So here's the thing. I was 23 years old when I was engaged. He proposed after 3 weeks. Couldn't lose me, huh? So had to get me quick. Like, whew, gotta get this one quick before somebody else does. So, and he was wealthy. And I have to tell you, you know, definitely the wealth and the money makes a woman feel a bit secure. You know, there's a sense of responsibility that a man should have to be able to show also that he can provide for his family. And so I was already a nurse. I already had my profession. I was making good money. I loved working. I would work 6 days a week, 16 hours, 14 hours actually. So I was like a workaholic, but I loved what I did. So I didn't get married for the money. I was pretty much ready for my next check mark. Okay. This is where I messed up because I was ready for my next check mark. What was the next thing for me to do? Right? Went to college. I had a profession. I had a great job. I was making great money. I traveled a little bit. What's next? Marriage, kids, right? So yeah, you know, it's tough because they don't teach us in school. School does not teach you about relationships, and they don't teach you about money. And this is where people struggle the most in history of our time, right? How many divorces happen, and what's the one thing that's hurting people, which is bankruptcies, not being careful with their money, going into debt, having bad credit, and then you have constant divorces. So I've kind of been there, have lived a very long life in a short while, had 2 children, my amazing boys. Sorry, guys, about the beeping sound. I don't really know how to turn that off. One day I'll figure it out, but I really tried YouTubing it and I could not figure it out. So I'm not kidding. Usually I tell people I had a talk with somebody today and they're like, well, there's this one thing I'm trying to figure out how to print a report. I'm like, just go on YouTube. Everything's on there. But this one beeping thing, I cannot figure out. Okay, so where was I? 2 kids, amazing boys, 14 months apart, and I had a really good marriage. Not my ideal way of getting married and doing things. I will say that I have learned a lot and have had a crash course in adulthood in a very short while. And it's good for people to make a list, not just of their goals, but what it is that they want in their partner. And many times we don't realize it. I'll give you a great example. Grant Cardone, for those of you that know who he is, I love him. Grant Cardone, Elena Cardone. They're really, really great, great, great role models. But Grant Cardone was calling Elena, his wife, twice a month for 14 months. And she always said no, 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 until finally one day she said yes. And now they've been with each other, I think, 13 years and have 2 amazing daughters and are madly in love and are pretty much building an incredible empire together. But he did not give up on her. He knew exactly what he wanted and the kind of woman that he wanted, and he saw that in her. She did something interesting. She did not want to have anything to do with him, but she wrote a list of 100 different qualities that she wanted in a man. And Grant Cardone had all of those qualities except 2. He wasn't 6 feet and he didn't have green eyes. So I said to myself, okay, everything out there that has to do with motivation, self-development, self-love talks about goals and affirmations. Why can't I do the same for the person that I want to be with? And so I created a separate list of 50 plus characteristics that I would like to see in a man. And it can't be he has to be nice and handsome and has a job and has money and like things like that. Has to be a lot more detailed. So I left out the green eyes and the tall. I left out the tall, dark, and handsome part and put in things that are of more value, more quality. Yeah. So, life lessons, they're not there to hurt us. They're there to make us better.
And I think that goes to a lot of people out there. Like, I know for myself, like I've been through some really bad stuff in my life too, and every time I get out of whatever bad headspace that I've been in, like every time I get out of it, I'm always ahead of, where I was when I first got into that bad headspace. Like just because I was making 5 figures 8 years ago a month doesn't mean that I'm limited to those 5 figures this time around. It might be 6 figures a month. It might be, and I might lose it all after. I don't know. Like I can't see the future. I wish I could and just, make a tweak here, make a tweak there, and just keep the 6 figures, but can't do that. But switching gears back to the beginning when we're touching base with a illness prevention, with the whole scare of the second wave coming, what can people do right now to help them prevent them from catching this virus?
Okay, so a few cheap, holistic, alternative remedies, right?
Yeah.
So the molecules that I share, I'm not going to mention them, but go ahead and people can always reach out to me. I'm happy to share it with them. The things that you can do at home that are simple and cheap without putting so much effort into it, definitely try to get at least 8 hours of sleep. We already talked about this with just turning off the news, any kind of negativity, because that just literally does weaken your immune system. Stay away from having phone call conversations where people are just talking about how scary and bad the virus is, because it's the same thing as listening to news, and all it's going to do is actually drop your immune system. Watch happy movies versus scary movies. Laughter movies. I Love Lucy. Turn on I Love Lucy. So, because Joy and laughter increases and strengthens your immune system. And those are just some simple little tricks. Music, anything that's not rock based, has the ability to be able to not only strengthen both of your hemispheres, but also strengthen your immune system. Stay away from sugars and carbs. And I know that that is very, very hard, but see if you can at least limit the amount that you're taking, because sugars do weaken your immune system. It actually forces the energy of your immune system to cut down and fight on the sugars and the infections that are happening in your body from the sugars and the carbs. So you want to be able to just help your body out and save its energy for the virus. And you can do that by limiting its ability to work on other things, such as carbs and sugars. Any kind of sugars, although fruit sugars are good for you. So anybody that says fruit sugars is not, stay away from them. Sugars from fruits, natural products are fine. What else can you do at home? Let's see. Okay, so visualization and meditation is definitely something I teach and I encourage. Visualization, you actually want to sit and give yourself time to be able to evaluate your body, look at your body, and visualize your body being in the best strength and health of your entire life. So that is just something that can literally take 1 to 2 minutes. So sit every day, close your eyes, take a deep breath, and you want to be able to take in a few deep breaths and breathe out. Breathe out that the negative, whatever ailments that you may have. So you want to breathe in the positivity, breathe in goodness, breathe in joy, and breathe out all the negativity. Another thing that you want to do is you want to visualize healing of somebody else. Okay, healing yourself is one thing, but you actually get even stronger if you visualize somebody else, a loved one, a family, a friend, even a stranger, a neighbor. Visualize them, their body, their energy, and send them healing. Because that actually, the saying, what you give out comes back and return to you 3 times fold. So it's actually very true. So send somebody else healing, and that actually in turn heals your body. A few other things is drink a lot of water. Okay, at least 2 liters a day. And one way where you can do that is you can figure out how much water you need is you take your body weight, you divide it by 2, and that is how many ounces of water you should be drinking. So let's say you're 100 pounds, divided by 2, you're 50. So you need to be drinking 50 ounces of water a day. So water is very, very cleansing. Another thing that you can do to keep yourself healthy is fasting. Now, this is a really tough thing for some people to do, but if you can try to fast at least once a week, which is a really long, 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 long time that you can go without eating, that actually has a cleansing process. There's a whole science behind it. I won't get into it, but fasting alone once a week will actually put you in a really good optimal health. Vitamins, supplements, there are a lot of people that don't believe in it, but I'm very big on it because I do not believe that we are getting everything that we need in our food and on the foods that we eat. It doesn't matter how healthy and organic you eat. It doesn't matter how much food you're juicing. It doesn't matter what you put in. You are not getting all the nutrients that you eat, nor is all the vitamins that you're taking is actually being absorbed. But your body will take what it needs and get rid of the rest. So give it a little bit of extra. Multivitamins, zinc, vitamin C, at least 1,000 milligrams once a day. I take a whole lot more. Vitamin D, just about every person out there is deficient in vitamin D. You should be taking, I take a high amount, but that's just me. I take from 5,000 to 10,000 units a day. You want to consult your doctor, but all of us are deficient in vitamin D and definitely should be able to take that. Let's see, probiotics, very big on probiotics because our stomach, it really is the second brain. We actually have more neurons firing in our stomach than we have in our brain. And we have a much higher percentage of serotonin, which is happy hormones in our stomach. So make sure you have regular bowel movements, take your probiotics, and there's a cool tummy exercise that I do when I meditate, which is I pretty much push my stomach in as I breathe out. So it goes like this. So do that. So let's see, what else can I tell you? 30 deep breaths a day where you just sit, Any comfortable position. You don't have to sit like a yogi or anything like that. Comfortable position. And you want to count, inhale to 4 and exhale 4. And you do that at least 30 times. That alone has been shown to settle your mind, decrease anxiety, decrease stress, and strengthen your immune system on a lot of different levels. And the last one, which is really important one, and it is something that I do every day that I shower, is to take a cold shower. So I take a nice lukewarm shower, and at the end of the shower, the last 30 seconds of my shower, I turn it on to pretty cold. I'll stand under it and I'll just take nice, slow, deep breaths as I count to 30.
That's so basically the Wim Hof method.
So that's a cheap way of keeping yourself healthy and strong at home.
That's an awesome way. But I'm kind of disappointed with the whole no rock thing. I mean, come on.
No rock thing? Oh, no rock.
Come on.
Well,
come on.
You know what? Test it out. Test it out. Take a bottle of water, 2 bottles of water, and play rock music to 1 bottle of water. And then play soft classical or sweet music to the other bottle of water. Take them both, stick them in the freezer. Take them out and watch how the crystals that are rock music are going to be deformed and the sweet music crystals are going to be beautiful. You just do it yourself.
But it's AC/DC. Come on.
I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm with you. I am with you. But hey, you asked Corona versus AC/DC. AC/DC can wait a few more months.
Okay.
We will put him on the shelf. They put us on the shelf. We might as well put him on the shelf too.
Yeah, okay. I'll give you that. So if there was no Corona, then we could listen to AC/DC.
Yeah, morning. All right. Oh yeah, absolutely, dude. Look, I love Metallica, Linkin Rock. You know, this is my style here. Blast Metallica back when I was young in my days.
That's awesome. You gave a whole list of easy stuff that people could actually do and just feel better about themselves, and eventually they will actually start to look better because their bodies will actually start to adapt to the way they're eating.
Many things. There's a lot of people, I think what happens is there's so much gimmicks out there about diets and good and healthy food and so forth. And really, it's not about the food, it's about diet. Let's say you're somebody who loves your potato chips. Okay, you like your potato chips. You never eat fruits or vegetables. I tell you what, I make you a deal. Leave the potato chips alone, but add a fruit. Eat the fruit before you eat the potato chips. And that's kind of the way I would encourage people to change their lifestyle, because if you just try to do something cold turkey, and when people go on these diets and stuff like that, they just go through this back and forth ping pong, and as soon as the diet is finished, I'm sorry for that beeping. You'll have to help me out. That beeping is like driving me nuts. It's driving me nuts. Okay, if you guys are worried about Corona, this beeping is gonna we're gonna lose it. Diets really help people go into ping pong. It's really all about habits and adding a small little habit instead of taking something away. And so just by when you add, leave your life as it is, but add a little bit something different that is a little bit better. That alone can create its own transformation. So I read this. I do a lot of audibles. I'm an audible junkie. I'll go through about 1 book to 2 books a week. And I try to do my Friday book of the week. And I'll always recommend whatever book it is that I've gone through and give a quick review. So the good book, Atomic Habits, is a good book to go through. It talks about habits, how they're developed, how long it takes, and so forth. But that is definitely a highly recommended book to go through. And so sometimes it's not stopping what you're doing, but it's really just bringing when you bring in a little bit of something different and better, eventually you don't even realize you automatically start stopping the bad habits. It just happens. You just want to bring in something positive, and eventually the negative starts to drop off.
Yeah, I actually told that to one of my clients back in 2008. She wouldn't believe me. I told her I'm gonna make you hate chips, and she loved chips.
Yeah.
And she actually, I told her I made a deal with her for 3 months to stop eating chips.
Uh-huh.
And on the On the third month and first day, I allowed her to eat chips.
Uh-huh. And she
She
didn't want
came back. She came back the next day to train with me, and she told me that she hates me. So I'm like, all right, you hate me every day. So okay, what's today? How's today so special? She goes, I don't like chips anymore.
to. It takes 21 days to create a habit. It really does. Although I got a bone to pick with that, but you'll have to forgive me 1 second. I think my mommy is calling me. I just want to make sure that she's okay. So forgive me because we were on for a little while. My mommy's my best friend. For everybody that doesn't know, I live with my mommy and I love her. Hi, mommy. Oh, okay. Get this up here. Okay. All right. I'll be right back. Sorry, guys. Okay, just. My apologies. So my mommy is my best friend. I love her. I have the best mommy in the world. I literally can talk to her about anything, boys, sex, whatever it is. So it's very rare. Not many of us have moms like that or have parents like that. But I got to tell you, my mom, when I was young and smoked weed, God, I think I was like 16 years old or 15 years old. I actually started smoking cigarettes when I was 11 years old. From the age 11 to 17, I smoked cigarettes. My mom always knew everything. I don't know how she does it. She's got like this radar somewhere. This like you can see right through me. I had a friend of mine and she smoked. Her parents couldn't tell a damn thing. My mom, there's no way I can hide anything from her. Ever. Ever. Ever.
It was probably the smell off of your clothes.
But some parents, I don't maybe they refuse to want to know. I don't know. It's like you need to put
They
lotion on.
probably just they probably just refuse to know.
Yes. So I have the coolest mom in the world, and I live with my mom. I think living by yourself is very overrated. I did that, tried that for like 7 years, and I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm okay. I like living with somebody that cooks for me and cleans for me. I like it better. I'll pay her; she'll take care of everything. This is like the life. I'm telling you, everybody should try this.
All right.
off the beaten path
Off
here.
the beaten path again. It's okay. It's all
A
good.
little bit
It's
more
all good.
get back into the rhythm here.
Yeah, let's get back on track here. So you also talk about alternative medicine versus traditional medicines. Which one do you prefer? I think I know the answer to this one, but I want you to explain.
Yes. So I am not against. Um, I'm not against Western medicine. It has its place, but it is unfortunate that many of us completely get away from prevention and taking care of ourselves now, and we wait until it gets so bad. And me being one example with my me struggling with my stomach for about 15 years. Um, I never ate very well. I didn't eat the healthiest food. I ate junk food majority of the time. Let me tell you how much we didn't know. We came from Russia, and so for us, cake. I'll give you an example. We used to have cake for breakfast. So we're Russians. We have very big family. Always had parties, family, restaurants, so forth. There's always some kind of an activity happening. So we always have cake for breakfast. Almost always. Majority of times, I remember having cake for breakfast. Okay, so it was breakfast food, right? And or you'd have a piece of bread with Nutella on it, right? Chocolate, and that was going to be your sandwich for school, right? We didn't know better. And as we got older, what happened is we started having, you start having issues. And so unfortunately for me, when I got sick initially with my stomach, I went to see a lot of different doctors. And this is right literally when I graduated from nursing school. And each doctor gave me more medicine that made me more sick. And at a certain point, it was time to take matters into my own hand. And my mom also took it upon herself. And we literally transformed all of our foods and started learning and started studying. And it's sad and it's unfortunate, but that's kind of what happens. They don't teach you healthy habits in school. They don't teach you about relationships. They don't teach you about finances. I don't know what they teach you about in school. I don't know about you. I don't remember much from school. So, and when I got sick with my stomach is really when we started learning about organic and dairy-free and soy and literally everything that I couldn't eat. I couldn't gain weight. I was always sick. And we went from doctor to doctor. I went from doctor to doctor, and I could not get better. And finally, we did eventually find a doctor that figured out what was wrong with me and was able to help me, of course, through medications. But I did not want to continue taking the medication long term. So it took enough to be able to get better and stronger and continue to learn and change my diet so I don't have to rely on the medications, because the medications were actually making me sick as well. So you pick and choose your battles, and I just learned a different quality of life. I chose not to take the medications simply because, number one, I did not want to be dependent and reliant on it. Also because the doctors that I saw before made me even more sicker, so I was already a bit traumatized from it. And yeah, that was kind of it. And we just kind of learned and grew. And then as I became a nurse, I started seeing other things about our patients and doctors and the relationships and the way the situations are that I wasn't happy about. And I just told myself, I really do not want to be at the mercy of the medical profession if I don't have to. And so I jumped more into a lot of alternative natural remedies. And so now I'm just kind of a little overboard sometimes because I've spent a small fortune on stuff. And sometimes I'll have a friend of mine that'll call me, and she's got a friend of hers that told her about something. And I'm like, sure, sign me up. I'll buy it. Let's try it. And I do that a lot. And it's because I want to be able to be more knowledgeable, have more than just one thing to rely on, and keep myself at optimal health so that I don't have to rely on a doctor to try to fix me if I get sick, because they can't fix you. They can't.
Doctors are not gods, they're just people.
Not. And they make mistakes too, and they're not perfect, and they're overwhelmed with a system. It's a very broken system. And I give them a tremendous amount of credit with what they have to go through. But
Yeah.
I'm sure many of them would like to sit down with you and just say, hey, listen, you should, maybe not have so much sugar, or let's look at your diet and stuff like that. But they just can't. You didn't come to them to have a conversation about health. You came to them so they can give you a pill. And they know.
Yeah. Yeah. And here in Canada, our system is much different than what it is down in the US. And if you've got a health card, you got a free ticket to the hospital, you got a free ticket to a doctor. Which is you want to talk about doctors getting overworked. Come up here in Toronto, in Ontario, and see how overworked these poor people really are.
Yeah.
And sometimes they're not even getting paid.
It's unfortunate, but the times are changing. It's not what they used to be. Back 30, 40 years ago, somebody got sick, just run straight to the doctor. Nowadays, I mean, look, you didn't know about what organic was. You didn't know about, why do you keep disappearing? I like you. You can stay on with me. It's okay.
Trying to give you the spotlight here so you can talk.
This is your space. This is my space. I just finished watching, when I was on my flight to Baltimore. I was watching Dirty Dancing. It's my favorite movie. I love it. And I watch it 1,000 times. I don't know why. I just love it. Absolutely love it. So this is my space and this is your space.
I just try to give you the spotlight. That's all.
No, it's a long time ago, doctors were the thing. And I actually know people and have family members where it doesn't matter what you tell them, they want a doctor. And they think that the doctor will fix them. And only when a situation gets so bad where they've tried every alternative and they realize, okay, this isn't working, then they'll go and look. I mean, look, you didn't know what organic was. We didn't know what antioxidants were. We didn't know what essential oils were. We didn't, look at the celery juice movement. Dude, seriously, celery juice movement. One doctor started a celery juice movement. It has over 3 million followers, okay? Celery juice. So,
Yep. Celery juice. Like,
well, look,
okay.
he got me. He got me. We were celery juicing. I bought his books. Yeah, I drank that Kool-Aid for sure.
I did it. I'm like, it's celery. I mean, come on, it's celery. Like, it's water.
Has a lot of positive components. Actually, it's actually antiviral.
Water.
Yeah, yeah. Don't get me started. We're not going to go there. 3 liters a day, and if I really want to lose weight, I'll drink 4 liters. Which I had a health coach that works with me. She started screaming at me. She's like, "Don't you know that's so unhealthy?" I'm like, "Oh no." So
What,
yeah,
drinking 4 liters of water?
yeah, it's
I
very
drink 4 liters of water. I feel great.
it's very unhealthy.
It is?
Yes, you're flushing yourself of all of your electrolytes
Ah,
that you
crap.
through your whole food.
So
So
now I have to knock it down?
you either have to knock it down, or you have to make sure you're replenishing your electrolytes within within at least within a liter.
Okay.
You can't just flush your entire system, because your body needs, especially your heart, it'll throw your heart out of whack.
Okay. So I'll knock it down to 3. I'll knock it down to 3 liters.
Yeah, and see, the thing is, when people finally get sick, it doesn't happen overnight. It takes 20 years. When you get cancer, it's not something that happened overnight. It takes 20 years to finally get the results, and then you can't fix it with just some medicine, so forth. So yeah, so she screamed at me. She's a health coach, and she's knowledgeable as well. So if I get yelled by another person that's works with me, I gotta cut it out.
So, what are your go-to alternative medicines that help you feel better mentally?
Okay, if I don't take my molecules, I'm a disaster on every possible level. That's it. Like that's why I'm so passionate about this technology. I literally don't function well. But if you put the molecules aside, vitamin D. Let's say before I knew about these molecules, what did I do before? Vitamin D. When I would not take my vitamin D, and I take 10,000 units, when I was going through, both my sisters are pharmacists. So one of my sisters said to me, she's like, "Tanya, you need to start taking vitamin D, 10,000 units." I'm like, okay, fine. The days that I didn't take it, I would just randomly start crying in my car. And I would like say to myself, whoa, stop. What the hell's going on with me? What did I do different? And then I'll have my aha moment. Omega absolutely creates more clarity, and I'm able to focus a little bit more. When I don't take my prebiotics, my probiotics, when it doesn't feel right down here, it stops the concentration over here. Hydration, anywhere that you read, I get very, very foggy. And when I start getting foggy, I ask myself, shit, how much water did I drink today? And when I don't drink enough water, if I just drink one bottle of water for the day, I'll get foggy. So fluid, at least 2 liters, is a must. Let's see. How am I doing?
That's good. No, that's good. So I usually
going if I keep thinking about it.
no, because we're nearing the end right now, and I usually have these set questions that I ask all my guests. Where do you see alternative healing and health in the next 5 years?
It's already changing. It's already transforming us. I mean, give you an example. 15 years ago, when I started as a nurse, none of my patients had vitamins. No doctor prescribed it. 15 years later now, my patients have at least five vitamins. At least 5 vitamins. They're prescribing omegas, multivitamins, vitamin C. Like they're prescribing it. So it takes about 15 to 20 years for the times to come around, whatever it is. Chiropractors, alternative remedies, acupuncturists, vitamins, right? Organic food, whatever it is, takes about 15 to 20 years. When penicillin was first developed, it took 25 to 30 years for them to finally accepting it. And that's kind of where we are. people already understand what oils are. They kind of get the idea of multivitamins and vitamin C. They kind of get the idea organic is like the new thing, and antioxidants. But more and more people are becoming more knowledgeable and going in that area. So I can see a huge shift within 10, 20 years from now, where you have maybe about 5 to 10% of the population are more towards natural alternative remedies. And I can see a much bigger percent, maybe possibly, I don't know, 40 to 50% in about 20 years, maybe even more.
Cool. What about you personally? Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
And I hope I'm still alive. And I know there's this bug going around, everybody's.
You'll just it's an easy weight loss from what I've heard.
I'm telling you, seriously, anybody wants to lose weight, they should just go find the bug quick. Just have somebody cough on them. I swear, it'll be a miracle of their life.
I actually had a friend who actually got it, and he lost 25 pounds in a week.
Really? Was that a good thing? Was he happy about it? No, he wasn't happy about it.
He was a muscular guy.
Oh.
He was a very muscular guy and lost 25 pounds in a week.
There was this one guy, I don't remember his name, but I follow him on Instagram, and he's really, really fit. He's a dumbbell, Russian dumbbells, the Russian dumbbell guy, and he was so fit, and he took him over 4 weeks to recover. And you can see the breakdown of his muscles on his body when he would show, as he showed us his pictures. It's because when you're sick with it, my mom had it, my aunt had it, and it's funny, I did not get it. I was actually negative for it.
Interesting.
Don't know. But it's, it really is very destructive to the body, because our body doesn't know what this is. It doesn't recognize it. It's a whole different virus. So your body has to get it clean and has to develop antibodies, but you have to go through it. So it really does take a big toll. I've seen a lot of my relatives in New York have gotten sick from it. Many of my relatives here.
Mm-hmm.
I may have had it. I may have been a carrier. I don't know. Who knows?
If you could pick up the phone right now and call yourself at 20 years old, what would you tell yourself?
Stop wasting time. Get to it.
I love it.
Stop looking around. Do what you need to do. You know what you need to do? Do it now.
I love it. That's great. That's awesome. So looking back, would you change anything?
From the future? Looking back?
Looking back from right now to 20 years old, would you change anything?
Oh my God. I don't know. It's hard to say. I'd want to say I wouldn't get married. But I have 2 amazing sons. Technically, I can't say that. And I do believe everything happens for a reason. Everything, every person you meet, every situation that happens, however you look at it, it is either a lesson or a blessing. Learn from it if it is a lesson. Otherwise, it's going to come back and hit you in the butt again until you learn from what you're supposed to learn from it. But every person that you meet, every situation that happens, every road that you cross is either a lesson or a blessing. You figure out which one it is. And so I wonder sometimes, would I do things differently? But then I also understand if I did, I wouldn't be as strong and as powerful as I am today if I wouldn't have gone through my struggles and my joys back then.
I completely agree with that. What keeps you up at night?
I don't know. I actually sleep like a baby. It's I think it's you, John. I think it's you. You're a hot stud. You're doing something to me. I swear.
Gee, thank you. I'm blushing.
Seriously, I sleep like a baby. I don't know.
That's awesome.
What is there? Look, what are you going to worry about? Seriously, what is there to worry about? What can you possibly do now? I don't know. Like what? I think that when a person goes through so much trauma and through so much hurdles and through so much challenges I've gone through a lot in my life, the little story that I've shared with you, that I really truly just kind of take in the moment of what I have. Going to the past, I can't fix it, change it. Going to the future, it hasn't happened. So what, why would I stay up worrying about something that I can't necessarily fix or change?
Hmm. You know, you're not the first person that I've heard that said that to me. And the first time that somebody said that to me, it changed my life.
How so?
This was right after I got out of my like really bad depression. Uh, Attempted suicide twice, and
It's all right. I'm
uh,
on the list too. I'm with you.
yeah, I started martial arts, and I was in that martial art for about a year, and I was walking home with my instructor, and I was like, the Leafs lost, and I'm all bummed out. My instructor's like, why are you all bummed out? I'm like, the Leafs lost again. He goes, huh, can you fix it? I'm like, no. So why are you worrying about it? I'm like, you know, that's that's deep, man. That's deep. Ever since then, I'm like, well, okay, whatever, man, whatever. Happened, it happened. Okay, what can I learn from this?
Yeah. You know where I learned this lesson? When did Kung Fu Panda come out?
A while ago.
In the movie Kung Fu Panda, the turtle says to the panda, because the panda was eating the peaches and was stressed out. So the turtle says to the panda, what would he say? Oh, uh, the, the past is history, the future hasn't happened, and the present is a gift. That's why it's called the present.
That's cool. That is really cool. That's really cool. I really like that. I really like that.
So
Uh,
this
where
is from
can,
a turtle.
sorry,
This is from a turtle.
from a turtle to a panda. And where can people find more about you?
Well, come and connect with me on Facebook. I haven't necessarily expanded into YouTube yet. I'm a little bit on Instagram at Tatiana Paulé. So slowly and surely, as I'm growing and learning, uh, I will hopefully expand those different platforms. And but until then, say hi to me on Facebook, Tatiana Paulé.
That's awesome. And for everybody out there, we are going to be putting all her links below in the show notes. So you guys have access to Tatiana and all her amazing vlogs that are on her Facebook. I've been going through them like crazy today and yesterday and the day before. They're really good. They're really good.
Thank
So,
you.
any final thoughts?
Be imperfect. Show people who you are. Be imperfect. Let people relate to you because each and every one of us has something to relate to you. And the less perfect you are, the more people will connect to you. So just be yourself, and the right people will come. Don't impress others. That's not what you're here for.
That's a very powerful message for most people out there. Uh, Tatiana, thank you so much for being who you are and your and all the amazing nuggets that you dropped on us today. Um, and for alternative healing and health. I know it's going to become huge because just your presence itself is just glowing and it's just spewing out there to the world. So thank you so much. I appreciate you for everything that you're doing.
Thank you, John. And thank you for taking the time and thank you for offering this opportunity. I am loving this. You have my mind spinning. I'm like, dude, I can do this too. I'm ready. Let's
I have I
go.
have no doubt that you could do this. And for all those out there, hard times are just a test. And you need to know that when you get out of whatever you're going through, You will be stronger than ever before you don't even need to go ever before, and you don't need to go through it alone. Always know that you are not alone. Stay tuned for more real people with amazing stories that are just like yours. Until then, to everyone out there listening, I wish you a good morning, good afternoon, or a good night, wherever you may be in this crazy world.